all of the technology that's funding space is based upon us developing the right technology that's going to help us propel in space. You get it? If somebody show up and say, I know the best way to propel in the universe, they going to say, you don't know what you talking about, and they going to silence you. But why they going to do that, though? Because you're going to end their whole cash cow. They don't want this figured out. The government is giving them $30 billion a year to experiment with technologies that's going to allow us to propel in a vacuum, propulsion technology. The moment somebody say, hey, I figured it out, they're going to blow your damn brains out. You stupid. The moment you figured the shit out, the money going to stop. Why you think that they gonna keep making war? Why you think wars are still being fought? Because there's a budget for terrorism. And the budget for terrorism is just as much as the one for the space program. It may be like 50 billion a year for terrorism. Guess what happened if it ain't no threats and it ain't no wars? They cut the budget. We don't pay for programs we don't need. So the moment they was gonna cut the government's terrorism budget program, we had the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh my God!
Think about that. Think about this trend, right? The moment things are getting too safe in the world, people say, why are we spending that much for terrorism when ain't shit going on? That's what voters say. So the government will have to say, you right, ain't nothing happening. Take 20 billion off of the terrorism budget and put that in the communities. But instead of the government doing that, the moment the people say, ain't nothing happening, cut that budget. Guess what? Soon as we say that, a building get bombed. Think, my nigga. Think. God damn it. Think. Use your head. If I'm the government and I'm getting billions of dollars for programs that are based on you believing something may happen, I'm going to keep you believing that shit to keep the money coming. I ain't gonna never come up to you and say, hey man, get this money back that y'all giving me, cause ain't shit happening. We don't need to spend y'all money right now for security, cause ain't no threats. You think the government gonna do that?
Stupid.
You think the government gonna say, hey man, give the people them $30 billion a year back because space ain't real. The earth is flat. You think they got that much integrity? Sanchez, why would they lie about the shape of the earth? Because $30 billion a year says that the space is real. Our government spends $30 billion a year to explore space. And that's a place that none of us can prove exists. What if I told you our government get $30 billion a year to explore Wonka Wonka land? You would say, you would look at the government budget and you would say, wait a minute, y'all spending 30 billion of our dollars to do research and explore Wonka Wonka land? Wonka Wonka land don't exist. So they got to give you this place that don't exist and say we're exploring it, but you can't verify that. And you spending $30 billion and they're saying we got to keep exploring it because we're trying to colonize it. We want to live up here one day. So keep giving us the money and you're going to be doing this for generations. And we never going to leave the earth. It's free money. It's a cartoon program. And everybody in on it. Billy is too. I brought my receipts today. I told y'all we gonna get him, and buddy, we getting him. We gonna show our people who this sellout is. We know sellouts exist. We just don't know how to identify them, which is why I chose to go about the video this way. Billy has been a scammer his whole life. He didn't do nothing but graduate to higher levels of scamming. And when you get on the highest level of scamming, you start working with the big boy scammers. And that's NASA. That's the European Space Agency. This is the companies that recruit your best scammers. It don't recruit your best scientists. This is a scam. They ain't recruiting black scientists. They don't care about, think about this, right? All these scientists know that we got the propulsion technology right now that is the most best way and efficient way to propel in the universe, and it will allow for space travel. The technology I'm showing you on my screen right now, this is what CERN is doing. It's basically open up a portal and allow us to travel through space or through the astral realms, through the different dimensional planes. This, what I'm showing you on the screen, this is the original rocket technology that was gonna allow us to leave the Earth. They killed this whole movement and they started the fake space programs that you got today with the fake globe. This was in the 40s. We figured out how to leave the Earth in the 40s by creating a vortex, and that was the swastika that hit at. We found out that the way that you leave the Earth and get the people to the other side was the secrets of Moses. Moses split the sea. That's what CERN is trying to do. When they say we're trying to split a sail, no, you're not. You're trying to split through the ether. And our Taurus field is a big old sail. That's the firmament dome. That's Operation Fishbowl. We said when they was trying to break through the firmament dome, they was trying to split a sail. They found out in the 40s that we were in a hologram and a simulation. They said, if you tell that to the world, people gonna go crazy. We found out in the 40s that the Earth is a holographic simulation. We found that out in the 40s. I would argue we found that out. Well, far as my research, so we found that out in the 40s, and then we started to look for technology that would allow us to drill through it. Victor Schoberger here understood everything that I'm saying right now. His concept was based on flat Earth. He's showing you right here the secrets that Moses had about splitting the sea, because vortex is the only thing that can make the water split the sea. But we're talking about the plasma layer of our reality was what they're trying to pierce through during Operation Fishbowl. Everybody, you know that they're censoring me, so I shouldn't even have to tell you to like and share. That's all we got. All we got to fight back against the big machine is a like and share button. Use it, man, use it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we can do. At least do that. Appreciate y'all too. Now, let me go somewhere with this, right? Listen, what I was saying was the paperclip thing, right? What I was saying was in the 40s, we found out the true nature of reality. We rediscovered the true nature of reality according to the ancestors. Then we got busy trying to create technology that would allow us to penetrate it on that level, the plasma level. And this is one of those concepts. Everything that we create to try to penetrate or drill through the fabric of space-time, it's gonna resemble the Earth itself. Why, Sanchez? Because let me show you what the Earth is doing. Let's go back to this right here. This hole that we see in the Hebrew cosmos, in the top of the sky, that's what they trying to recreate, God. The God particle. So what CERN is telling you, they're accelerating two particles. That's basically the yin and the yang. This is an old concept that they bringing back. The sun and moon is the yin and the yang of a big old hadron collider. The energy of the sun is colliding with the energy of the moon. When they say they're crashing particles, this is what they're doing. They're fusing polarities. These are two counter-rotating cylinders. These are two counter-rotating cylinders. Pay attention. Two counter-rotating cylinders. What am I showing you? Nut and gap? Yeah, nut and gap. Look at here, see, because the horizontal aspect is the sun. Horizon, Horus, hours, right? Now, if you look at gap represent the yellow one laying down. Nut represent the one overarching him, the moon energy, female energy, you see? And this is what's going on as the energy flow from mama and daddy, the celestial matriarch and patriarch. This is what the yin and yang is. But check this out, right? Two counter-rotating cylinders will create a vortex. These cylinders are like whirlwinds. If you look at the path of the moon and the path of the sun, they act as two counter-rotating cylinders to open up this stargate that they call God. Okay? This is the Nazi UFO Vimana technology. There's no such thing as a UFO. This little object right here is the Earth that we're in. This is a torus field, and you need to get used to it. And we don't need to focus on so much as the object itself as the energy field. It's an energy field that they are turning into a physical object. And that's what a Vimana is. They turning a invisible energy field into a real physical vehicle. They basically copying what's on an unseen level and putting it together on a seen level and say, look, we're a genius. But they can see certain invisible concepts that are very real and they exist among us. And you can reverse engineer those into the physical plane. And people will think you so smart, but those people only know physics. They only been given a surface level of understanding. And since you know all the invisible inner workings of energy, you can reverse that into physical technology. Earlier, we went over how Billy Carson is getting his money from NASA. We ain't going to be redundant. I want to show you how big and deep this rabbit hole is as far as the propulsion scam. In the 40s, when we found out that Earth is a holographic simulation, we found out that you can drill through it with vortex energy, and that's what the swastika represent. Hitler was obsessed with time travel. So was Tesla. Now check this out, right? That's what led both of them to this same vortex symbol, which I'm finna go over in a minute. Now, the thing about this is this right here. This vortex vehicle, right? It will introduce a new form of propulsion to the world. And the small hats weren't going to allow that. Now, that's what I was going to say before they cut the stream. This is so deep, bro. They made trillions of dollars off of gas and petroleum and oil. Don't you know vortex energy will create a world where we can propel any object just by creating an energy field around it? Any object we make, we can put a Tesla coil in the middle of it and rotate two cylinders, and that thing will start to levitate and propel itself with vortex energy. I'm about to go into that in a minute when I get into this Nazi Germany receipts. They were selling so much gas, they weren't ready for that. See, the thing about it is, when they found out the truth about our reality in paperclip in the 40s during that time, in Nazi Germany, they were trying to go ahead and introduce brain-computer interfaces, vortex propulsion, time traveling in the 40s. The small hats, they was thinking that the world wasn't ready for the truth, and it can be dangerous if everybody on Earth found out that we're like in a simulation. How would everyone react? But they're slowly bringing that truth out now. The thing about it, they felt like we weren't ready then, but the truth isn't that we weren't ready for the truth. The truth is that they weren't ready for the truth because they was making so much money from the lie. They said the world wasn't ready for this advanced technology because they had so much more gas, petroleum, and oil to sell. It's one big propulsion scam. Because let me just recap on what I was going into, because they've been running this scam since the early 1900s. Now, the thing is, just like with this proposal that Billy Carson has with NASA, right? He basically is one of the priests of this religion of space. And just like the religion of we gonna go to heaven one day, they selling you the idea that we gonna go to space one day. And you gotta buy into each one of them until you get there. You gotta tithe while you doing it. And if you got to buy into it and tithe until the day you get there or till the day heaven come, it'll never come. Because somebody getting money just as long as we wait. That's what I was telling y'all in the previous video. If somebody show up and be like, I got the right technology that can propel through any medium with no limitations, they gonna get rid of you. NASA and the space agencies are gate guarding the most advanced propulsion technology in the universe. And that will bankrupt all of the petroleum companies, gas companies, oil companies. You see what I'm saying? And they knew this since the 40s. Nikola Tesla was telling them that. It's a big propulsion scam. Listen to what I'm telling you, right? The swastika is basically a vortex. And this vortex is propulsion technology. But at the same time, energy is motion. So the same technology that will propel our vehicles will also power our houses. Think about that. Think about if your motor was also the source of energy for your house, and when you drove your car to work every day, it paid your light bill just with your trip of your car. Energy is motion. They don't want none of our motion to be translated to money that would allow us to buy back into the system. Everything we think about this, right? Tesla said the most abundant thing in nature is energy. And we was basically saying how much of a tragedy is for humans to pay for it, you know? So the free energy thing is what's under attack, is deeper than flat earth. Excuse the dogs, but I got a lot to go over, so we're gonna have to tend to it and still keep it moving. So everybody getting paid because the space program is a bunch of people saying, hey, we want to travel to space as humans one day, but we don't got the technology to propel through space, to go on a big exodus and leave the earth, right? And then they saying we got to explore more about the nature of space and where we gonna go and how we gonna get there. So right now the government cutting $30 billion a year to explore that. $30 billion a year. And in the 40s, right, they had this same sort of programs going on, but it was more legitimate because we didn't really know much about the earth. During the knowledge of the universe we got today came up out of Nazi Germany. had it first. They would have took over the world with free energy and propulsion tech. The Germans would have. But check this out. Just like with Tesla, it's always going to be, should we sell this or should we just give this knowledge to everybody for free? Because they getting it from these ancient sites and patterns and carvings on the wall. This is technology, advanced ancient technology. And I'm not going to be redundant because we tackled a lot of stuff in part one. We tackled a lot in part one. And I want to move on with new stuff with part two because I got a lot for you. But picking up where we left off, hold on. This is one of the biggest scams that people don't even know about. What I'm telling you is this. Look at Billy's proposal to NASA. This ain't a real thing that you can put your hands on. He never showed this on YouTube or nothing. So think about this. This is one big cash grab, and it's a lot of people in on it, man. That's what I'm telling y'all. If this was a real technological object, why would he give them proposal with a CGI picture? I'm showing you the real technology is right here from Victor Schauberger. And I'm going to show you more. We ain't even got deep into this yet. Just wait a minute. This was the technology that they was calling Nazi UFO technology, right? Foo Fighters and stuff. The first, think about it. When did people start talking about seeing UFOs? In the 40s. In the 40s. And what did I just show you was happening in the 40s and all that? I just went into that. Plastic. We started talking about plastic we started using plastic in the 40s, aluminum. All that came out of Germany. Let me tell you something. All wars are fought for a reason. World War II was about plastic, aluminum, Teflon, and vortex energy, free energy and propulsion energy. All 6 of those, whoever would have got control over those in the 40s, would have became a world superpower. So no particular person got control over them. The United Nations was formed in World War II so that everybody say, look, we're going to come together to take Germany down and we can all equally share, copy the patents and equally split up the war treasures. So the biggest treasure was the free energy and propulsion technology, which is why the space programs got started after World War II, because they wanted to create a big mystery of the whole space program concept was making you think that we can launch rockets into space using fire, like combustion energy, gas, jet fuel. That's a whole. If we want to travel off of the earth, we got to get out of our body. And in the 40s, believe it or not, they had brain computer interfaces. They was talking about simulations and out of body and traveling through parallel universes. This was average talk in the 40s, but you wouldn't know it because they wrote all this out of history. And so people was talking about piercing through the veil in the 40s. And this was the symbol, like a big needle that they used to pierce through it. I'm about to break this down to you what this is and how they created it. But they shut me down on the first one. So now I got to open up my little folders again, but it ain't going to take but a second. So all of this technology is them reverse engineering our Kundalini energy. Like I was saying in the previous one, please, everyone, hit the like and share button. It's the weekend. Let's get everybody back in here. Where else you want to be? Now, check this out. The concept of an alien abduction is something that comes from ancient Christianity. I shouldn't say ancient, medieval Christianity. This is what the old church started, indoctrination. See, the tribal people talked about the consciousness rising up the spinal cord and leaving the body to travel parallel universes in the astral plane. Before we talked about astronauts, we talked about astral travelers. And the picture in the bottom left corner is the Hebrew showing our souls ascending up their spinal cord. Remember that I told you that the spinal cord is the matrix. That's the Jedi pillar. The spinal cord, we went into the etymology with span. What the Hebrew is showing you right there in the bottom left corner, because a lot of people, we don't understand that the Bible and all the religions are basically built off of man's ability to leave the earth and to time travel. We made a school for time traveling and wrote books about it, and that became the religions when they hid it from us. We forgot to interpret Jesus as a time traveler. He said, I'm gonna be with you throughout all the ages. Look at the image in the bottom left corner. Look at it. That's a CERN machine. Look at this. You see that? Look at the CERN machine. Look at the CERN machine. Now let's look at the Hebrew concept of ascension through the sky vault. You see this? See, today they want you to think this is magical mythology. It don't make no sense. It's foolish stories. These were ancient people telling you that they was, instead of them showing you a CERN machine, they was teaching you what the thing do and giving you artwork. The people in the medieval Renaissance times spoke in a very parabolic, mythological way. I want everybody to hit the like and share button. In the bottom left corner, what we looking at is the CERN machine as described by the Hebrew. But they don't want you to see the synchronicities in that. They want to make it into something else. So this basically is a physical hole through, this is tearing a hole in the fabric of space-time, is what the CERN machine is doing. And what we see on the physical side as a whole, on the spiritual side, it's a pole. The whole is a pole. You see what I'm saying? So that's the Jack's beanstalk that's used to pierce in and out of the veil and travel in and out of it's the bridge in and out. So we see Jesus, when they say we fell into sin, sin is what? Sits. Now let's look at the CERN logo. We are fallen angels that fell into technology that we created in the ancient world. This is sits when we talk about CERN. That's the bottomless pit. Here it is right here. We fell into CERN. Now they saying we fell into sin. You see, the thing about all of this is this right here. This is what Dante called the inferno. And Earth is a quantum computer. If you look up what a quantum computer is, it is what you see the Pharaoh holding in his hand. Don't let them lie to y'all. This quantum computer come right up out of Babylon, right up out of Egypt. This is the abomination of Babylon. This is what created the spinal cord. See, this is what I'm telling you, man. Your spinal cord is really a computer. This is where consciousness resides. The part of you that computes, the part of you that reasons and judges and rationalizes and do computations. It resides in the spinal cord, the central nervous system. What appears to us like a spinal cord from the inside of the matrix, on the outside of the matrix is literally a machine that is computing. You got to understand that when the Pharaoh was showing us stuff like what I'm about to show you now, it was showing you him inside of his own spinal cord. Now that sounds weird, right? Like, how is the Pharaoh in his own spinal cord? That sounds so weird, don't it? But think about it. This is the golden tomb that the Pharaoh went into to save himself. We save things in computers. Consciousness is an electronic signature. We created brain-computer interfaces in the ancient world, and we found out how to cheat death by the moment your body start getting too sick, You just upload your soul into a new body. And there are people among us that have been on this earth for a long time using this technology, bro. This is who y'all calling witches, archons. These are ancient pharaohs and shit as like presidents, actors. This is what they was using back in the ancient world. Look at this. Now, this is gonna goes back into why everybody that worked for NASA and everybody that's pushing the space lie, they gotta push the alien crap too. Because all of the technology that they stole from the ancestors and that the paperclip scientists reverse engineered from our ancestors, they tried to hide it behind the UFO conspiracy. So anytime I show you advanced technology that we using today, and then show you how we was using it in the past, you will see when they was using it in the past, the modern historians are playing dumb saying, whoa, that's alien technology. Osiris is green, look at him. Now, why did Osiris paint himself green? Because this was the true color of the Nagini or the genie, either blue or green. In other words, this technology allow us to manipulate reality on an auric level or what we call a plasma level. And so when you see him green, it means in the form of the light of the aurora borealis. The light that we see of the aurora borealis is the northern lights, and that's why he got on a Santa Claus hat, because it's talking about the North Pole trip. When our spirit take a trip to the North Pole, we exist as Kundalini energy, and that's the green serpent inside of the body that I was showing earlier. This is when you in the hospital, before you flatline, they got the look. Let me show you something. They show you this in the hospital. They got this little machine. And when you alive, it show a green serpent. That mean life. And when you die, the serpent ain't there no more. And if somebody come up and say, because this represent life, this green serpent, they turned that into the worship of a green serpent. Moses staff, life. Kundalini is life energy. Now check this out. This same symbol, they gave it to Zeus and turned it into a lightning bolt. You see what I'm saying? It's just talking about the secrets of life, man. Kundalini energy, soul energy, that which powers the body. Now, when you flatline, that is to say, right? Let me show you something. In a hospital, when you flatline, guess what they're telling you with the machine? That green serpent just left your body. This green serpent inside of you, that's the real you. That's your energy. That's what's going to become one of these streaks in the sky. A ribbon in the sky. A ribbon in the sky. This is how you're going to head home, just like we came, stripped of a body. Because everybody in Eden, these are beings that exist in a Nagini state. Now, from that state, they can choose to re-enter another body or not. This is the soul in the body. The spirit is the spiral. That's the serpent that they call Satan, that which was casted down, and it will rise up. The Kundalini will rise. Now, one thing we say about Christ, we say Jesus will rise up from off the cross. I got to show you something. Because when they talk about Jesus rising up, they really talking about the Kundalini rising. That's why Jesus and the serpent is the same symbol on that staff, right? Let me show you. This is important because we finna get back to NASA and paperclip. So look at here, right? They're one and the same. Before Christianity, before Christ, it was the same religion, but they just put a snake on there. They later changed that snake into Jesus, which is why I told you it come from Satanism. And Satanism ain't bad. It's Natanism. It's the study of the Natus, the fallen angel, the study of the soul's journey in the flesh was talking about the study of the devil coming onto the earth. You see? Now, this is important because when you understand how this all tie into the propulsion hoax. Now check this out, right? They found out that we live inside of a holographic simulation in the 40s. They found out that the only way we can lead the earth is to manipulate reality on a kundalini level. What do I mean by a kundalini level? It means that on a plasma level, on a level of light, because physicality is an illusion that light is creating via the technology of we call holography. Everything around us is a hologram. It's light mimicking a form. This was what the Mayan taught. And they said you can pierce through this matrix by stirring up this reality on a plasma level. That's what CERN is doing. It's creating a spiritual hurricane. Basically, CERN is doing what your crown chakra is doing. And that's keeping a portal open for your soul to leave here by spiraling energy. So the spiraling energy that's keeping the vortex open is the serpent. The spirit is the spiral. The part of you that's opening up so that when you die, you can get up out of here. It's your light, opening for you to get out. And you creating it yourself. This is why if a person ain't spiritual, they got to reincarnate. They didn't open their own portal. And by doing that, you opening your mind. The people that have this ability, they are spiritual people that have the ability to eloquently express the nature of the spirit realm the way that I'm doing, because they are directly living it and they ain't driven by money like Billy Carson. Now, I want everybody to hit the like button because we still don't got them up. Now, check this out, right? When you see people throwing up sit, it ain't got nothing to do with no red dragon and no devil. I already told you it got something to do with how we get to the earth and how we gonna lead the earth. I keep telling people, here is what the red dragon is right here. It's your story, man, of us coming to the earth. This is the red dragon that fell to the earth. Look at him. You see what I'm saying? We got to start seeing ourselves and all this symbolism and stuff, or they gonna keep winning on us and then giving you to tell they alien abduction stories when I'm giving you all this knowledge. Now, what you think the pharaoh wearing on his head? A Neuralink hat. Those golden wires you see are the copper wires to the Neuralink technology. You got to do that with copper. Watch this. Watch this. See, Elon Musk ain't smart. Ain't none of these people smart. They just thieves, man. They reverse engineered ancient concepts. Why do Hebrews wear golden fringes? Because that represent the copper wires that allowed them to ascend to heaven. This was a technocracy, dude. They hiding the technology that founded world religion. These golden wires that you see are your Hebrew fringes. See, what the Hebrews don't know is that the reason they was able to get raptured and have an out-of-body experience is because Moses created Neuralink. Moses was a wise man. Why do Hebrews wear golden fringes? The same reason when you play the Pac-Man game, that the little ghost in the Pac-Man game got on the little golden fringes. Let's look at the ghosts in the Pac-Man game. Now, ghosts are entities that can walk through the walls. They can travel in and out of our world and to other worlds. This is what you're calling archons. People that can travel, be multidimensional. They wear fringes. This is what we're talking about here. Pac-Man is Pokemon. It's talking about the genie in a lamp. Pac-Man means pocket monster. Pokemon means pocket monster. So when you see the ghost get ate up, that's how the genie get in the lamp. That's how the saint get into heaven. Now think about what heaven is, though. Let's go back to the Hebrew cosmos, and I'm going to show you the Pac-Man game. Now look at the Hebrew cosmos. Look at the sky vault. That's when Pac-Man gobbling up your soul. This opening in the sky is Pac-Man mouth opening up. This is a Hebrew game that they made, and they created another one in Japanese. This was the truth, though. See, when we go to the middle of the earth, when we die, we turn into one of those green streaks of light that you see with the aurora borealis, and that green streak of light wraps around this pole to go home. That's how the serpent get wrapped around the pole. See what I'm saying? That's why y'all share the video, man. That's what Osiris showing you. When he painted green, he's in his North Pole form. That's why he got the Santa Claus hat on. He finna take a trip in his green form, Nagini form. This is the green snake that wraps around the pole. All of us are the devil. We are the fallen angels. And we using this pole to go up and down and travel through these different dimensions. We literally take a snake form, a green streak of light when we leave the body. And a snake can climb up and down a tree by wrapping around it. And that's how our spirit get in and out of these earth realms in a spiral form, wrapping itself around a pole to go up or down. And this was the science of the Northern Lights. But I'm showing you how even the Pac-Man game, showing you when our soul busts up out of this thing, how you get stories like Jonah in the whale. Jonah is genie. The genie in the lamp is the Jonah in the whale. And it's going to spit you back out up here at the top like a whale spout with the water spout. And so the sun and moon can be looked at as two eyes of this whale, and the earth is the mouth. And then up here, this is where the whale be shooting up the water out. So the world is really the world, all that, the sacred geometry line up. Now, the thing about this, right? Well, this is all in theme of Billy Carson. I'm going to bring it all this home, but I'm thorough. Check me out, right? What I was saying on the other one was, why did they hide all this? Why would they lie? That was the question. Why Billy lying? Why he'll sell out $30 billion a year? But even more that the system of life as we know it will have to change with this information, which is what Tesla wanted to do. Bring back the good old days when technology made us all equal. But now technology is being used to police us and to turn us into consumers. We used to use technology to make every human better and to create a world of equality. That was heaven on earth. Intent is everything. Ain't nothing wrong with technology. It's something wrong with the people using it and the intent of it. It's a capitalistic game, what we're creating with now. And we only gonna make technology that's gonna end up controlling us, turning us into addicts. Look at the world outside. With all our technology, look at the state of the people. The ancestors had more advanced technology than us, and they didn't act like us. They wouldn't sprung out on fentanyl and doing all this with drill music and doing all that. That's what I'm saying. They weren't religious as hell in churches and all that. They were advanced humans. Technology made them advanced. How is technology making us dumb? How we got smartphones and dumb people? That part. That's what I'm talking about. Because they using the technology to keep you ignorant instead of to empower everybody. Now check this out, right? Check this out. Hold on. So when Billy say, I saw a UFO and I knew it wasn't our government because we didn't have the technology to do that, he's hiding all the real truth to y'all right there. Because anybody who really woke know about Operation Paperclip. They know that Tesla, the Germans, and all of them had the technology of what we call Vimana technology, and that's been on the earth ever since the Vedics and Hindus. They had clean propulsion machines that whip across the air like this. They didn't move like nothing we know. That's Vimana technology. The weird stuff you see in the sky, that's government doing tests. Want to know how I know? Because you can't see this stuff everywhere. You see this weird stuff in the sky happening the most on the East Coast and West Coast. If you in Virginia, you see a lot of stuff because you by Langley. If you on the West Coast, you see a lot of stuff because you by Area 51. You're by White Sands missile range. They ain't testing missiles, dog. If you think they shooting missiles off into the sky, you're a lie. They're shooting Vimanas off. When a person in New Mexico say, I saw something whipped across the sky, guess what they say? Oh, you know they testing missiles in the desert. That was a missile. That's what they telling them. If it ain't a missile, oh, it's an alien. This is how they've been hiding this German technology for years, right in our face and testing it and making it better. And the whole while we thinking it's UFOs. Now, guess what happened a lot? The UFOs crash a lot. The UFOs crash a lot. And I'm going to just keep my mind open because check it out. The old Sanchez said, these people that said that they saw a UFO crash and that they weren't able to talk about it, the dudes in black came and all that, I say they lying. My mind open now. I apologize because I thought about something, right? If the government are testing this advanced ancient aerial technology, aircraft technology, this Vimana tech, they ain't gonna get it right the first time. I can imagine that somebody can be chilling somewhere in Mississippi somewhere, and somewhere where green good or anywhere you imagine, and boom, some big mysterious object just crashes, and they see it, and they say, "Yo, an alien ship crashed near my backyard, man. I'm not lying. I saw one." And then the government came and they took it and we ain't hear nothing about it. Now think about this, right? Every time you see these weird crafts, they are with Air Force planes and they come from military bases. Evidently, if the government are the first ones at the crash site, it ought to tell us they got a tracking device in it and they're testing some aircraft they don't want us to know about. The way that these things move, it ain't like no technology we ever saw. And I got a whole documentary about it. It really would look alien, quote unquote. The way that it moves, it don't look like none man could make. It's almost miraculous to watch. And in the 40s, they said people ain't ready for that yet. This propulsion technology is so advanced that the same propulsion technology that allow for levitational devices like the Vimana is also the same accelerated propulsion vortex technology that would allow man to open up a portal in the fabric of space-time. So not only does this thing allow for a way for us to move and propel ourselves, the way that it propels itself also generates free energy. It don't take away energy. Think about this. What if when you drove your car, it gave you energy instead of took away energy? Because every time motion is energy. So every time your car moves, you got to pay for gas. But we got the technology to turn motion into energy, which means every time your car moves, you get paid. That's what Tesla was talking about. The biggest scam ran on the masses is that we are paying the most for the most abundant byproduct. Energy is nature's waste. Energy is like boo-boo for nature. It's the most abundant thing in nature. Why would we pay the most for it? We live in an economy where when there's too much of something, it go on sale. Imagine it being too much of something and that raises the price. That's how they running an energy monopoly on you. And think about this, that's the energy monopoly. What if I told you that the machine that's allowing them to generate free energy but charge you for it is also the machine that can propel your car without gas? That ain't a laughing matter, that's actually a OMG. But Becky, she drunk right now. She tripping, you know. Do me a favor and let's see if we...
Oh my God!
See, she's slow as hell. Look at her. Now check this out, y'all. We at 800 viewers. I think we can get back 1K in the building. And that's just my way to show YouTube, nah, they came back. You see what I'm saying? It's war with me. But anyway, salutes to the people that's back and who did hit the like button. Let me finish saying what I'm saying. This is why Billy Carson works for NASA, and he got to give you an alien abduction story. Now, I just proved to you with receipts that Billy Carson works for NASA. He's a NASA. When I call him an agent, don't say I'm a hater. He really works for an agency and serving their agenda. And the agenda he's carrying out is to hide propulsion technology that could liberate the world so that they can keep getting money by saying we trying to figure out how to propel objects and all that. The space programs ain't trying to figure out how to propel rockets through space. What they're trying to figure out is how long they can fool you like they trying to figure it out, because long as they can do that, they can keep getting 30 billion a year. It's not even no physical technology, which is why this proposal, which gonna get Billy some of that 30 billion, you can read it yourself, is on NASA's website. They're all liars, man. It's a bunch of CGI bull crap just to give you free money to keep your mouth shut because you see what NASA doing and you doing it too. I told you in the last video, I told you, if I see that y'all scamming them people, the only reason I'm not gonna tell them people that y'all scamming them is if you let me scam them with you too. Oh, see what I'm saying? If you don't let me get in on the scam, then I'll be like a bro Sanchez. That's why your heart got to be right, y'all. It don't matter what you know, because Billy Carson know all the knowledge I know about the earth being flat and all that. He playing dumb. He can't afford to tell you the truth. He know the truth. But when you making this kind of money, are you gonna tell it? I told y'all, not everybody got the integrity I got. Some people learn the truth and they see what's going on and they go do a deal with the devil and sell their soul. That's what this man did. How do I know he's that type of person? Because all of his content is about aliens and how to get rich. Just look at this man. If he ain't thinking about aliens and some made up story he can sell you, he thinking about money. And he's on all the big scamming platforms like Earn Your Leisure. We know that they harbor a lot of scammers. They had a dude that was literally going through a court proceeding for scammer on that show while he was going through the proceeding. Oh! All of these guys have made their money by ripping people off, and they will flaunt their jewelry on you and stuff when they didn't have no honor. I don't care when a dope dealer floss his car and his rims. You know how many people he pausing and kill? I got more respect for the man that's in a little bitty Corolla that got his shit, honestly. Now check this out, right? We showing you how Billy getting paid through NASA, through proposals. And I just read that to you. NASA's budget is set by an annual process that begins with a proposal from the White House and ends with legislation passed by Congress and signed by the president. The budget specifies funding amounts for programs and projects in human spaceflight, space science, aeronautics, technology development, and education. Boom. So if you do your research on this, which I've done, and you can prove me wrong if you want to, you won't be able to. There are no true civilian space agencies because every space agency is being ultimately funded through this $30 billion a year. And that goes from Billy Carson's to SpaceX and all that shit. You see what I'm saying? So how is the money moved around? Your civilian space agency got to fund their own projects to create their own technology. When they create that technology, they got to patent it and present it to NASA in the form of a proposal. If NASA say, you know what, we like your idea, we gonna use it, you get a big check, man. I'm talking about a big check, a couple $100 million. Now, that ain't really nothing because they get $30 billion a year. So giving you $100 million ain't nothing to shut you up and make you shut up because space ain't real. And basically what they paying you for is because they know you know the scheme. So again, I know all this. I got receipts. I didn't have to tell y'all this because y'all ain't even gonna hit the Cash App and even support me like that. If I was greedy, guess what I would have said? Damn, I found out some crazy shit about the government. But instead of me being Bro Sanchez making a channel to give y'all the truth and have the story right, I could have went to the other side. It's a fork in the road. You got to decide who you working for. I could have took all of this knowledge and said, you know what? I'm going to shut the fuck up and I'm finna go join the Brotherhood. I'm going to let them know I know. And if they need to allow me into the fold, because I know what y'all, I see you. Now, if you don't allow me into the fold, I can go and work for the people and tell them the truth. So guess what? They gonna allow everybody in. Otherwise, you gonna be like Brother Sanchez. When I came across I knew for a fact that when I found out the flat earth shit, that it's a lot of things that they don't want us to know, that a few of us know, and they ain't saying that to their people because they being paid to shut up about it. They being paid to shut up about flat earth and Nikola Tesla, free energy, and all this stuff I'm talking about. But at the same time, they are paying them to speak out about aliens and leaving Earth and the space religion. That's what you're getting paid to do. And my thing is, me realizing all this, it let me know that there's a lot of people that realize it too, and they just shut the fuck up and went and got their cut of the money. Because this whole budget right here is because we don't know the truth. And if anybody find this out and let them know, hey, I see what y'all doing, they gonna say, be quiet, man. Here go $100 million. Now they getting $30 billion a year. The average person will say, okay, you give me $100 million of them dollars, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'll work for you, because you gotta sign a contract of secrecy and an oath. They just ain't gonna give you $100 million and just trust that you ain't gonna say nothing. You got to register. You got to become a member of these agencies. Now, don't you know we got people with degrees who can't even become a member of this because it's a secret society. It ain't about your damn degree. I told you, Billy Carson don't even got a college education. How did he end up working with NASA? This man is basically around with rocket science, and he didn't even go to college, y'all. But he's getting paid to dive into rocket science. When we say things like, it ain't rocket science, there's no such thing as a rocket scientist. Show me one. Show me a rocket scientist, I'll show you a scammer. Because all of the rockets are CGI images. If a rocket scientist's job is to propel a rocket in space, then I'm going to show you something real quick. I told you I created a game. It's called Find Me a Real Rocket in Space. You won't be able to do it. I would love to be a rocket scientist, because that means all I need is Photoshop to do my job. That's a rocket scientist ain't smart. They just a good Photoshopper. You can't have thrust in a vacuum. All right? Don't you know that if you light a match and put a jar over it, the fire will go out because it ain't no oxygen to fuel the flames? How do you have fire coming out the back of a damn rocket in a place void of oxygen? What's fueling? What's propelling? That's why I'm telling you it's a big scam. NASA is not a space agency. They are a propulsion company. And they are gatekeeping the secrets of propulsion, which is vortex energy. And we found that out in the 40s. Check. Now let me hit the list again. The secrets of propelling ourselves for free would also introduce free energy. It's one and the same. Once we start powering our vehicles with vortex energy, it ain't like driving a car with gas because think about this, y'all. Tesla had a very simple concept. Energy is motion. If we moving every day, we shouldn't worry about energy. Everything you see create energy if it's moving. How do we harness that? So think about this right here. Think about this right here. If every day, all day, cars are just rolling through the streets, you know how much energy we wasting by having an exhaust pipe on your car emitting gases, harmful gases. Now they want to tax you for that, carbon emissions. When they are overlooking what Tesla told them, they making you pay for something that they already knew was going to be a problem, but they wanted to milk it for the money, and they going to make you pay for the mistake. We known in the 40s that we can propel our vehicles with clean electricity and with vortex energy. We wouldn't have used airplanes. We would have been getting around with stargates and wormholes, CERN portals in the 40s. You can get from New York to LA by walking through a stargate, a wormhole that's connected to the other side here. We was talking like that in the 40s because of this technology. Now, how though? Let's go back to the board to show you how. This documentary journeys into the shadows of classified government projects that secretly exploit the wisdom of advanced ancient civilizations for the purposes of reinforcing the systems that control the world. Now check this out, right? This is a vimana. The energy field you see around it is what propel it. You see what I'm saying? I superimposed a torus field around a vimana ship so y'all can see the science behind it. Check. Do you see it? Do you see it? This is what's going on, people. Remember, it takes two counter-rotating cylinders to create a levitation field. This is a symbol. Think of it like a UFO ship, right? Like a UFO ship. But what I want you to see, right, is when you take two of these and you stick them together and make like a sandwich with them. Guess what you're gonna get? This right here. I just want you to see what we showing here. Because when you look at this ship right here, it's made out of two symbols stuck together. And the reason I'm saying that, because you're looking at this UFO ship, but what you got to realize is they always show you the bottom of the UFO ship spinning round. Right? But they never show you the top part spinning. The bottom part is spinning one way, the top is spinning a different way. Just look at this image right here. Follow the blue lines. The blue lines will show you. See, look at how the blue lines are spinning on the top one. And look at how the blue dots, not the blue lines, the blue dots. Look at the blue dots. Take turns with it. Look at the blue dots as they wrap around the top one. And look at the direction that they're wrapping around the top one. Then let's look at the bottom one. Look at the direction of the blue dots wrapping around the bottom one. Can't you see that these are two counter-rotating cylinders? This is the secrets of free energy, because energy is motion, and this is how you create a situation of perpetual motion. It'll never stop. This is the snake that eats its own tail. They call it the Ouroboros, but they demonized that snake and now they call it Satan. They call it the devil because they don't want you to empower yourself. People, this is the snake that's eating his own tail. Look at it, the yin and the yang. Two counter-rotating cylinders. This is what CERN is. Look at it. This is able to give us levitational abilities because it cancels out the fact that if something is too light, it'll float up forever. If something too heavy, it'll fall down forever. But if we can create a situation that can cancel out the act of falling and the act of rising, we can cheat the law of density. We can cheat the law of density, and that's what this thing is doing. The cylinder on the bottom is making sure that it don't fall, and the cylinder on the top is making sure that it don't rise. This thing is capable of locking itself in one location indefinitely. And it'll be so still that nothing can move it. It'll just lock in place. And then it can just zip across the sky in a second. It's no limitations to how it can move with this kind of technology. If you get my documentary, it's only $20. If you get, and I put a lot into it, I don't make this stuff for no reason. If you get this documentary, it'll teach you everything you need to know about how they achieve time travel and all that stuff. All about the technology of Germany and paperclip and all that. This right here. It's top secret stuff, man. They reverse engineered the technology behind the earth. You see? What did we learn here? That Billy Carson is an agent, not because I'm hating. He literally registered with an agency and he's serving their agenda, which is to seed the UFO conspiracy. The government is the one seeded that conspiracy because they want to hide this technology. Tesla and he wanted this technology to come out in the 40s. And those are the two people that the government attacked that had this technology in that time. And they took the technology of Nazi Germany and Nikola Tesla, and it took them years to reverse engineer it to what we call CERN today. And if you look at the symbol of CERN, it's literally the swastika. Now check this out, y'all. If you understand what's going on here, right? In the 40s, they found out that we live in a holographic simulation and that you can pierce through it. with a light drill. And this is something Moses knew. And they turned it into this right here. Now, this is the symbol of the god Mercury. I got some news for you. Guess what liquid that they use inside of the vimana? Mercury. Oh man, we about to go deep. Check this out.
Exposed to covert government research that went into deciphering the technology that once seemed impossible. Imagine a world where the mysteries of ancient civilizations collide with cutting-edge government research. This eye-opening documentary unveils the hidden top-secret projects dedicated to reverse engineering advanced ancient technology. It also sheds light on the government-seeded UFO conspiracies that were used to conceal the real truth. This isn't just another documentary, it's an exploration of the extraordinary, a quest for answers buried beneath layers of secrecy. Prepare to be captivated by revelations that challenge the very fabric of our understanding.
So check this out, right? In this documentary, it's going to show how he and the SS had achieved propulsion technology that was beyond man's comprehension. And when man saw how this would have affected the economy, they had to go to war with Germany and with Tesla too, because it represents free energy and free propulsion. Those are the two pillars of government control that we rely on, people. Think about it. And what this represented was levitation technology.
So what we're looking at,
another man by the name of Byfield Brown was all of these scientists that was creating these levitation technology in the 40s. They didn't believe in gravity. People think flat earthers are some new stuff, but we've been around for a long time. They just been silencing us. We got technology today that people can buy and they can levitate apples and stuff. You can get it off Amazon and they call it anti-gravity tech. Gravity and anti-gravity can't coexist. It's contradictory. You see what I'm saying? The thing is, ain't no such thing as gravity, bro. It's only the law of density, and the law of density can be broken with two counter-rotating cylinders, which is what this levitation technology is based on. Go research the Byfield Brown effect. Same concept. If you looking at how they levitating this foil, and yeah, they got it anchored to some strings so that they don't got to keep chasing it around the room. But again, these strings is giving an electric voltage, and that is literally levitating the thing. Same concept. Now, what is the symbol of Superman? A triangle with an S in the middle. Look at this symbol. This is called ionic lift technology. They created Superman back in these days too. They were personifying the technology behind time traveling. And if you think I'm lying, bro, I can show you some right now. There was another scientist by the name of Mr. Tipler. He created a time traveling machine, and come to find out, it wasn't his idea. He get it from the ancient Berbers. They created the barber pole. They turned this into the Superman booth. When Superman go in there and he can fly in the phone booth, they used the same concept in a movie called The Matrix, where they go into the phone booth to travel through the astral plane to different worlds. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play the Tipler cylinder video after this one. But let me show you something about Nazi Germany. I'm going to show you photos and artwork that has come about surrounding Germany experimentation. Hold on. With this technology. Watch this. Let's see here. One of these joints. Yep, I think it's this one. I'm going to play this one for you. Watch this.
documentary journeys into the shadows of
Oh, did I play this? Yeah, hold on. It must be at the end then. Now look, They call this thing Zerum 525, but it's made out of mercury. This is what they put in the middle of the vimana. Think about this, right? The symbol of mercury is the caduceus staff. That's the wings of Superman. This mercury liquid is what they put in the middle of the vimana. So when the cylinder is turning, it's turning so fast you can't lubricate it with oil. You got to lubricate this cylinder with this specified form of mercury called Zerum 525. Go get my documentary. This mercury is in the middle of the vimana, and that's why mercury is the messenger. It allows for us to travel the heavens. He got the wings on. Mercury got the wing helmet on. What is that? The Neuralink. This is how we was traveling the heavens. This is Mr. Brown's technology. He was the first man to make a saucer levitate. And they took this man's technology, and you never heard about him. This is one of the kings of levitation.
See, they want us to think that flying saucers are made by aliens. Flying saucers are made by the Air Force, the military, the government, y'all.
And this dude made the first few flying saucers. Here they go. You think they just making that for show, for decoration, for play? Bro, this is the most advanced way to fly. Why you think we throw frisbees? A frisbee travel through the sky with less resistance than a damn airplane. Ain't that something? We sit up there and throw frisbees. We throw frisbees, and we see that the frisbee just cuts through the air effortlessly. And some ought to click in your head and say, why the hell do we got airplanes? Because somebody want to sell gas. Because somebody want to sell gas. The frisbee is the UFO ship. It's showing you the secrets of least resistant propulsion tech. Now, when did frisbees become popular? I'm going to see if y'all going to get this right. Tell me, when did frisbees become popular? There's a trend here. I just looked up, when did plastic become popular? In the 40s. Yep. Frisbees became popular in 1937. Why the hell did frisbees become popular during the 40s and 50s? Why did we make a toy called a frisbee during the same time that the government first started experimenting with this? Oh yeah, did I show y'all the frisbee receipts? Yeah. The frisbee was introduced. Did I pull it up for y'all? Or was I just reading without the share? Look it up. Matter of fact, here it is right here. I thought I had it up. The earliest date I see is 37. Fred Morrison, the inventor of the frisbee, first became interested in flying this in 37. That's strange, bro. Why? This was the same time everybody was interested in flying this. Everybody and their mama was interested in people. This was the early beginnings of the aviation industry. People, if Hitler's technology and Tesla's technology would have became popular, we wouldn't even be flying airplanes today. We would be flying UFO saucers. I keep telling y'all, we are the aliens. The governments of the world are literally traveling with vimanas while they got you buying tickets and jet fuel. Don't you know that the Wright brothers were small hats, and that the aviation industry got rid of an aviation economy that was way more safe and clean? The blimp technology, the vimana technology, it predates the airplane industry. The people with the airplane, that's the least efficient way to fly. But think about it. If I want to charge you money, I got to do something the most least efficient way. Have you ever taken a taxi cab? If I'm charging you to drive you somewhere and you paying for the time, I'm gonna do it the least efficient way. Cause if I don't take my time, if I just rush it and do it efficiently, if I do it efficiently, that goes against my bottom line. Because my car cab goes by the minute, how many you paying by the minute. So as a cab driver, I'm gonna drive slow. I'm gonna be inefficient. I'm gonna be inefficient, not because there's something wrong with my car, but because being efficient would actually hurt my pockets as a cab driver. If I want to sell you something and I want to keep selling it to you, meaning if I'm selling you a minute of driving time, then I got to make sure I can stretch that time as long as I want. That's going to make me be inefficient. Now listen, traveling from point A to B in an airplane is the most inefficient way to do it. But if you got to pay for all the costs, we're going to take our time and do it the slow, inefficient way. And I can make more money. Why? Inefficient helps my bottom line. See, in the 40s, the first airports were stone hinges, y'all. They used to anchor these vimanas on these Stonehenge. So when people act like they don't know what Stonehenge is, I'm going to show you what Stonehenge is right now. Watch this. Watch this. Let me play this first, finish this. Let's finish this one first. This is Mr. Brown's technology. He was the first man to make a saucer levitate. And they took this man's technology, and you never heard about him. This is one of the kings of levitation.
See, they want us to think that fly.
This is Mr. Brown's technology. He was the first man to make a saucer levitate. And they took this man's technology, and you never heard about him. This is one of the kings of levitation.
See, they want us to think that flying saucers are made by aliens. Flying saucers are made by the Air Force, the military, the government, y'all.
And this dude made the first few flying saucers. Here they go. You think they just making that for show, for decoration, for play? Bro, this is the most advanced way to fly. Why you think we throw frisbees? A frisbee travel through the sky with less resistance than a damn airplane, a jumbo jet. It make a jumbo jet look primitive. So this is what the government is using. It's us inside of the flying saucers. And it's based upon the physics of T.T. Brown. There it is, Thomas Townsend. The Vimana is real aircraft technology that's being used. Now, the thing about it is when you realize these things don't fly like regular airplanes. They move in a way that defy physics. A Vimana can be in the air and it can just stop right here and sit there. That's what a Vimana can do. I bet you right now, watch this, right? We got over 1,000 people in the chat. Don't lie to me, right? I'm finna ask a question. Cause I know I ain't the only one. I've been outside at night before looking at the stars and I be seeing stars do what they want to do. And they'll zigzag and then just disappear. And something in me be like, that ain't a shooting star. But I never think about it. I'll be like, yeah, yes it is. What else could it be? We just don't know everything about the stars. That's what I tell myself. But something in me like, why is that star moving like it got a mind? It's acting indecisive. It's doing what it wants, like a wheel being exercised. And that is suggesting that whatever that thing is doing, something is piloting that thing. When you look in the sky, and I've seen this before, I've seen a star that and this made my heart start beating. You will see a star do this, do that, and disappear. Like that, I know I didn't just see that. I'm tripping, nigga. That's a Vimana. These things fly on a very high plane. You'll mistake them from the star, but it's a man-made aircraft. It's the same UFOs that you see in the sky as a saucer. When they get hyperbolic, is what I call it, when the cylinders go to going real fast, they can levitate higher. And then they go to shrinking smaller, and what we see is the glow from the energy field around the vimana. But these are very advanced pilots that's working for the government. And this is really what space travel is. While they got y'all looking at the fake space program with the astronauts, the real astronauts are them stars that you see zipping across the sky. That's man-made technology. That's piloted. That's why I can hit a left, hit a right. It don't move like a star. And I'm telling you, we got technology that can be mistaken for the stars. This Vimana technology, when this stuff gets when it's operating at its full capacity, it don't look like nothing you would see in the sky. But it's the exact same UFO saucers y'all see. They phase in and out of different dimensional planes. So when they get the time traveling and going to higher planes using this Vimana ship, we look up in the sky and see stars and moving around. This is ancient technology and a war that they're fighting in the heavens. It's called Star Wars. The Bible talked about it too, about the war that broke out in the heavens. That was when we started creating Vimanas. There's a whole war that they're fighting on a higher plane in the atmosphere. And it looked like a bunch of stars just shooting around and I'm gonna tell you what to do, right? Go to the woods away from the city. Get away from the light pollution. You will see that there's a lot of activity above your head and that the night sky is littered with stars. And there are so many moving stars, you will be looking everywhere, dude. And this is a warfare that's taking place on a higher plane, what they call the war that broke out in the heavens, and as above, so below. This the ancestors fighting these people above, and we the children fighting them below. Now check this out, right? The people that's trying to rule us on the earth created technology to make the warfare expand all the way up to the heavens. Now this is what we got to realize. They giving you a bunch of astronauts leaving the earth in rockets, but that's a lie. The people are really leaving the earth and traveling to higher planes in Vimanas. But don't nobody know about that. They got you thinking that that's aliens and that's shooting stars. That's man-made, very advanced government technology. And the pilots that are flying that ain't like no pilot on earth. They specifically top secret, top secret, and they sign up to fly that. That's all they do is fly Vimanas. That's a whole secret covert program. And they've been testing it since the 40s. They got a whole military department for time traveling, y'all. For vortex propulsion devices. This is a whole nother reality that they're shielding you from while giving you the rocket science bullshit and the jet fuel hoax. What they want to do. Whereas a shoot. Now, I really want to show y'all what something real quick. I'm looking for something. Give me a minute. Okay. Dr. John Murray did experiments with different kinds. By the way, this is from my documentary on the Nazi secrets of time travel. In this documentary, I will show you what I'm talking about with these lights in the sky. I'm so thorough, you know that. We're going to be looking at this. Everything I say, I'm going to show in my documentaries. You know that. So if you didn't get this, you're missing out. Now, this goes into so much. Look at this image here. Like, I got so many receipts for this documentary, man. Even in Independence Day, right? Boom. But I want to show you a artwork so I can show y'all something real quick what Stonehenge is. Wait a minute though. Here we go. Now look at this right here. Look at the ending of this thing. I'm gonna show you the Byfield Brown effect, because in the 40s, we found out how to make levitation aircraft that didn't need gas. All it needed was 2 counter-rotating cylinders, and those would power themselves based upon the free energy concepts I just showed you, canceling out. This vehicle was a mass cancellation vehicle, meaning that once it started operating, it don't have no weight. You know how airplanes weigh a certain amount? This thing weigh a certain amount when it's on the ground. Then the more that it start propelling, the less it weigh, giving it levitation abilities. That's a science, y'all. They ain't telling us how deep this reality is. There is a technology that we was experimenting with in the 40s that we had vehicles, the more that they propel, the lighter they are. The more that they cancel their mass out, giving them levitational abilities. And vehicles like that are able to turn in ways that regular vehicles can't. Like they can move, like I'm gonna play this video right here and show you how the Germans reverse engineered the lifter levitation technology, or what they also call the Byfield Brown effect. Look in here.
Or downward currents. It will ascend in such currents.
See, this video show you the vimanas. Now, I know y'all thinking those are shooting stars, but they're not. I watched the sky, bro. I watched the sky, bro, and I know a difference between a shooting star and the vimanas, man. So I'm gonna just play the video from here. If you want to see the whole documentary, I showed you where to get it. Let's go.
Yet been reached, regardless of weather and oblivious of quote unquote holes in the air or downward currents. It
See all of them little lights that you see moving like that, bro? Those are vimanas. And then they phase in and out. You'll see them just disappear. You'll think it's a star. I've seen this with my own eyes. Can't nobody tell me this is a fake video. I've seen this with my own eyes, bro. And I know that I live by Area 51. I know that I live by White Sands Missiles Range. They are testing some advanced technology. It's able to move in ways you ain't saw before. Many people have reported strange lights in the sky that are moving like something out of this world.
Yet it will be able to move at will through the air in any direction with perfect safety at higher speeds than have yet been reached, regardless of weather and oblivious of quote unquote holes in the air or downward currents. It will ascend in such currents if desired. It can remain absolutely stationary in the air, even a wind for great length of time. Its lifting power will not depend upon any such delicate device.
Look at this, man. People, let me show you some. They call it the Wenceslas mine. Have y'all ever heard of it? People, I'm giving you the secrets of Stonehenge. Don't you know that they use these to anchor the vimanas with them, y'all? Stonehenge is the same thing. You see these right here all over the world. You know why? They would have anchored a vimana inside of that. It would have been anchored to it. So this image on the right show you a vimana inside of one of those little, the Germans are the ones built this thing. Now they was testing some technology in this area and they kept people out. But recently the government opened up as some sort of like, you can go and explore the ruins or whatever. But ever since they did that, people have been wondering what the hell was they doing in these things in the 40s. They put these all over Germany in the 40s. And they didn't let people come and see what was going on till later. Way after the fact. Now people can walk through here and look at these ruins, but it led to a whole conspiracy where Germans are like, I wonder what was going on here. And I figured it out. They were anchoring vimanas there, because when you lift, when you're trying to, when these things are taking off or they're first propelling off of the ground, that's when they're most unstable state. They're very chaotic. They tend to tilt over. And I showed you a video to show you what I'm talking about. Once you get them up in the air, oh, it's on now. But the hardest part is getting it up. And that's what I'm showing you in this video. Just look at what the aluminum foil is doing on the left.
It will ascend in such currents if desired. It can remain absolutely stationary in the air, even a wind for great.
Look at the struggle. It's unstable. Look at it. But once it go up, it locks in place. It'll lock right in place. Look at that. When them things get tight, it locks in place. And once it lock in place, when it get upright like this, they will cut all the strings and that shit'll shoot off right into the sky like a bullet out of a gun. Very simple concept. It's a launch pad. Stonehenge is a launch pad for vimanas, y'all. Listen, man, Stonehenge, I keep telling you, everybody want to act like they don't know what's going on. We don't know what Stonehenge is for. We don't know what this stuff is for. Man, y'all are hiding the secrets of propulsion. Listen, man, listen. Once they get the doggone thing tight, they can cut those strings and it'll shoot off, man. Shoot right off, right? And from that point, it's stable. When the vimana is at its most non-stable point is when it's in liftoff mode. That's why they created these barriers around it. And now people don't know what all these things are, but they are launch pads for vimanas. And this is showing you what it would have been used for as they stabilize the thing to get it locked in an upright position. Then they'll release the strings and it'll just shoot right up from this doggone launch pad. And it'll go so high up, people, it must be amazing to see. Think about it. While they were showing everybody rocket launches like this right here, think about what I'm telling you. They were showing us this right here. This is what they were showing us. And this will never leave the earth. While they was looking at this right here, the real rocket launch. They giving you the fake rocket launch. The one that ain't got the technology to leave the earth. This vimana can leave the earth. It can phase in and out of our physical realm and phase into a higher plane and be flying around on a higher dimensional shelf, and you'll think you looking at a shooting star when that's a man-made aircraft that has left. That's really what rockets look like. People, let me show you something real quick. The space program tried to make it like this is what rockets look like when they in space. This is what they give you. And in your mind, this is what rockets look like in space. But people on some real shit, this is all a lie. I'm going to show you what rockets look like in space. You see them every night. Here they go right here. This is NASA and the real rockets that they're using, y'all, to travel in the heavens on the level of the stars. Man did not go to the stars in rockets that need combustion propulsion. But man did achieve space flight with vimanas. When people say we didn't go to space, NASA didn't go to space, but the secret government ops did. The secret military ops did. Is this making sense to y'all? Let me just see what, drop a 1 in the chat room. Drop a 1 past in the chat room. How does it get past the firmament dome? phasing in and out. This is what you do when you astral project. The Vimana literally phases out of what we call our physical dimension, and it turns into a damn star. Look at it. This is what the ancestors call the starship. They got carvings of these things all around the walls in Hindu. They all knew about this. It's called a Vimana. It's a starship. This is how man left the earth. When we looking up in the sky and we see stars moving like this, that's really the real space program, nigga. That's really the real technology, and you are really looking at rockets in space. But when they give you this, dog, this is a program and a lie. They already know how to travel in the heavens. And to travel in the heavens, you can't use combustion propulsion. They knew that in the 40s. They knew that the only way you can make it to the dimensional plane that the stars are on is by creating a starship, aka the Vimana. And here it is right here. I'm showing it to you. Go get my documentary, man. This is the real DeLorean. You know, Back to the Future. This right here is the real DeLorean, y'all. The Back to the Future, the silver car is right here, the Vimana. Now check this out. What happens in Back to the Future? When the car get to a certain speed, it disappears. That's what I'm telling y'all. That's what CERN is doing. When it rotate those cylinders to such a fast speed, it opens up a portal and boom, the machine vanishes and everybody in the machine vanishes. CERN is a gateway into the astral plane. Don't make no mistakes about it. CERN is a Vimana. So let me show you a picture of CERN, show you something too. Let's pull up CERN. This is the Vimana, brothers and sisters. This right here is what the Hindus call the starship. And this is what the Germans reverse engineered. Today we call it CERN. But it's like a spinning top. Let's play this video again and look at the experiment to show you how they lifted these things off the ground using these little ports that we call Stonehenge today. And the German version of Stonehenge is called the Wenceslas mines, where they was testing these Vimanas at. And I'm showing you that on the right. So like I said, once you get this thing upright and now it's situated, all you got to do now is cut the strings and it'll go straight up and you can steer it from there. And to land it is very easy because it's levitating. It's the most easiest landing, way easier than an airplane. It's just the takeoff. Now check how deep this is, right? I want you to look at this technology because I'm going to show you something. They hid this patent and everything around you, man. Even when you look at this all-seeing eye, you are looking at a Vimana being launched off of a Vimana port. Look at here. When you see the all-seeing eye shooting off of this platform, that's because the all-seeing eye is a Vimana ship, and the pyramid beneath it is the anchoring platform, or what we call the Stonehenge, the uncapped pyramid. So the pharaoh had a Benban stone, and the Benban stone is what they said allowed the pharaoh's soul to enter the heavens. And I'm telling you, they will talk to you like this thing is some kind of magic or something. Yeah, this stone had magical powers to give the pharaoh wings, and you can see the wings on it. This is the missing capstone of the pyramid. And it ain't no magic. It's literally technology. So the all-seeing eye that you see on top of the pyramid is the aluminum foil. Look at that aluminum foil. The aluminum foil is a triangle shape, just like the Vimana on the right. Now, if you look at the rays of light that's coming from that triangle, that is the anchoring wires. And those anchoring wires are making a pyramid themselves. But it's an unfinished pyramid because the top of it is being capped off by the vimana itself. They embedded this technology all around us so that their children would never forget it, while they got you not seeing this truth. The rays of light that you see coming from this triangle, those are the anchoring strings. Those shine down to form a pyramid of their own right here, y'all. This right here is the platform that is launching the soul off of the earth. This is why they said Jesus was on top of Mount Calvary with a crown of thorns on. Look at what the all-seeing eye is wearing, a sun crown. This is Jesus on top of Mount Calvary, and he's in between the two thieves. Look at this ribbon. That's your two-thief concept. Jesus leaving the earth is the Ben stone levitating. Notice it ain't a rocket now. They want y'all to think that the way we get to the heavens is by using jet fuel. We get to the heavens by using spirit fuel, fool. Spirit fuel. Soul power. All right? And that's what the Germans knew. Let's take a look at it.
Dr. John Murray did experiments with different kinds of energy, something that may have been scalar energy back in the early 1920s or the 1930s. He wrote a book called The Sea of Energy, and he describes this type of energy. Brad said that when this thing was moving around, the system was...
You know what? I'm going to have to restart this video to the beginning because I forgot to tell you something. Remember, this is a small segment from a large documentary concerning this topic. So you might be left in the dark on some things because this is like the middle of the documentary. So certain things I'm mentioning are going to seem like, what is he talking about? Then that means you got to go get the whole documentary to see what I'm talking about. Now, before I play this, I told y'all I was going to go into the Superman phone booth and the barber pole. So I'm going to give you even more stuff right now. So before I play the big segment, I'm going to play the small segment. This is going to break down what's called the Tipler cylinder, because back in the day, we were serious about making time traveling machines, but they had everybody laughing at it. Now they telling you CERN is basically a time traveling machine and ain't nobody laughing. It ain't funny when they doing it. It's only funny when the ancestors doing it. Why? That's because they stole it from the ancestors and trying to make it like they invented it. So when I take you to the real originators, they make you laugh at them and they make you respect the people that stole it from them and just figured it out. They turned this into the Superman movie, and like I said, in the movie The Matrix, they got to different worlds by using a phone booth. Let's look at where the concept come from, because they are not original. That comes from my man, Mr. Tipler, who was a scientist back in the day trying to tell these dummies the same thing that I'm trying to tell them. Let's go.
At one point in the documentary, we spoke about the Tipler cylinder. The Tipler cylinder actually solved the Einstein equation for the gravitational field of a rapidly spinning infinite cylinder. It was shown that such a field violates causality in a sense that it allows a closed timeline to connect to any 2 points in space-time. This suggests that a rotating cylinder could act as a time machine. The interesting thing about that is that each human being, the soul within us, is an infinite being of energy that is not bound to time. Every single human is a living time machine. And when you think about what's required to create a time machine or to allow time travel, any kind of technology that would allow a wormhole or a vortex to be open, to rip through the fabric of creation, space-time. One of those mechanisms that was able to do that was a Tipler cylinder. But all of the mechanisms that's able to open up a wormhole and allow for time travel, they all resemble what we are as human beings. And it's all based upon how divine we are. We're being reverse engineered. So for example, right, the Tipler cylinder can be compared to the central nervous system, the part of us that acts as an elevator for consciousness to travel the different points in time. The Tipler cylinder is also what we call the barber pole. If you ever look at how the barber pole moves, it's like DNA strands. This is the Kundalini energy. You have red and blue. You have blue going up, red going down. This creates a vortex. This is how you get your Pepsi Cola symbol, which is just another throw off from the yin yang symbol, showing you this red and blue or black and white, night and day, man and woman, 6-9 polarizing energy. Tipler cylinder is a cylinder of dense matter of infinite length. Why is it infinite length? Because the cylinder is formed due to think about a tornado tail. A tornado tail is formed via a vortex, 6-9 wind. And the stronger the winds get, the longer the tail grow. If there was nothing to stop the growth of a tornado tail being the ground, then the tail could grow indefinitely. If we're dealing with a tornado that's being fed an infinite amount of energy or indefinite amount of energy. So when we talk about a cylinder of infinite length, this was told in the Bible as the Babel Tower. Notice that the Babel Tower shapes like a cylinder and it goes up forever. There's a math concept called the Infinity Hotel. And the Infinity Hotel concept, it dives into the nature of infinity, free energy, and how space is infinite. Real quick, I want y'all to think about this, right? The word Babel is the word barber. When you talk about the Babel Tower, you're talking about the barber pole. Babel barber, Babel barber, barber pole, Babel Tower. And why is this pole associated with the barber? Because the barber is the one that cuts your head. And the symbolism of cutting the head is what we see in this pyramid right here. It represents a new version of you. And all of the pictures of Mama Callie, you will see her slicing the head off. You will see her slicing off the head or cutting your head. They give that to the man that cut the head. But today, that would be the barber. I want you to see how all this stuff tie in. Because cutting the head, we know he ain't really cutting your head. But to hide a lot of this stuff, they had to associate certain symbols with certain terms. So the barber, the one that's literally cutting your head, right? He got the symbol of the North Pole because of red and blue shift. What are the colors we see in this image? The Hindu was smart, man. What are the colors we see here? Red and blue. Why? That's Superman. That's magnetism. That's the barber pole. Red and blue. That's what you see in the image. And so barber is Babel, barber pole, the one that's cutting the head, because remember, this barber pole represents us moving through the chakra layers, the layers of the self. And every time we move to a new self, we chop off one of the heads of the beast. You chop off, when they talk about the beast had 7 heads, and you got to chop off each head. That's you being born 7 times through each of the layers of the self.
So that's why she chopping off the head. That's the whole thing of cutting your head, the barber pole, the Babel Tower, but everything has got mixed out of, bent out of shape and confused today. So me as a syncretist, I got to come back and show you how the chaos happened. See, my job is very meticulous, but it's very rewarding. A lot of people say, Sanchez, how you figure all this out? Bro, I lose a lot of sleep, right? And I'm so obsessed with symbols and shit that it don't seem like work to me. If somebody else tried to do it, they'll be like, fuck, this too much and I ain't making that much. But I love to do it. So, but let me play this though. Remember that the red and blue is what we see with Superman too. Let's go. So the Infinity Hotel is a modern concept that would have been taught in parable in the old days. And that's what the Babel Tower was all about. If you never heard of the concept called the Infinity Hotel, go look it up. It's a mathematical mystery that well, it's basically a paradox. It's called the Infinity Hotel. A hotel with an infinite amount of rooms in it, right? I want you to just look up Infinity Hotel and watch it. I think it's on TED Talks. It's several versions of it. But this right here is the concept of the Babel Tower. The Babel Tower. And it's the concept of the Tipler cylinder and the barber pole. Let's go. Now, let me explain to you the red and blue thing. The concept of the Infinity Hotel, right? When you go watch this, what you're going to realize is that the floors are staggered between odd and even rooms. They got the odd rooms on one level. The even rooms is like odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. With the shelves, right? And what that turns into is red, blue, red, blue, red, blue on the barber pole. But it's the same Infinity Hotel concept because you can keep moving in new people and the people from the first flow got to move up a flow and vice versa. So every time a new bus show up, everybody got to move up a flow. That's how we get an extra flow to keep allowing new people to enter the Infinity Hotel because the people at the bottom flows got to move up a flow. And when a new bus comes, we can always create an empty room on that first flow. You see what I'm saying? That first flow is where we get infinity from, and that is the earth realm. This is how we climb the stairway to heaven. Now think about what I'm saying. Because this hotel goes up to infinity and it's filled up. Think about this, right? When you go watch it, here go the paradox. The hotel goes up to infinity, but every flow is already filled up. So how can we get new people in here? Because everybody gonna move up a flow. You know how they can do that? Because the hotel goes up for infinity. That mean above us is infinite space. So every time a new bus pull up at the hotel, everybody just move up a flow because it goes up for infinity. And that mean that this bottom room will always be empty to receive new people. And this is what the earth is, y'all. This is what the earth is, man. Let me show you something. Here is what the Babel Tower is. It's a WinRAR archive file. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. When they talk about the Lamb's Book of Life, all right, or being written in the book of life to be saving, encryption. Why do we got the word crypt in encryption? That's talking about some dead stuff. Cryptocurrency, crypt stuff is talking about death. So why when we deal with computers and we talk about encryption, that's when you copying a file. Your body is the copied file of your soul. Your soul is the original file. Your body is just the encrypted copy. That's why the ancestors said the earth realm is a big sarcata, which means a sarcophagus. They looked at the earth realm as a big graveyard full of the dead walking. And if you look up the word Saqqara, guess what you're gonna get? A step pyramid. I already told you the word Saqqara is the word Shakara. Shakara. This was the Egyptians' way of teaching you about the chakras layered on each other. They called it Shakara or Sakara, Saqqara. You see this? This is what Saqqara is teaching you. Now, I know I'm being redundant, but this is all what we got to go into is relevant. This is Saqqara is Shakara. These are the layers of the self. And there is no capstone at the top because when one ascends to the top of this pyramid, they cap it off in a meditating position. In other words, when you go up to the top of this thing and close your eyes and meditate, you are the capstone. You become the capstone at the climax of your ascension. You feel me? Like Jet Li at the end of the One movie. This is like a spiritual port technology. Once you climb this thing and go up there and rest and take a meditation, guess what? Your soul leave the body. And when you wake up and come back to the earth, you walk back down to the ground. These were like lunch pads for for groups of people to lunch off the earth. And check it out, right? If you look up the etymology of the word day, the word day mean rise, rise. So when they said it took God 7 days to make the earth, but he rested on the 7th day, he rested. If you look at the 7 chakras, right? Don't you know that the 7th chakra is the crown chakra? And that's when God stopped making the earth because the crown chakra is not inside of the body and the body is the earth. The body is the earth. When you leave your body, you leave the earth. The only chakra that's outside the body is the crown. That's the one that transports the consciousness to the astral plane. That's why the Kundalini got the rise from the root all the way up. It enters the crown and take off. And then it go and dumps your ass in another you that's in another universe. And that's how you dream. When you come back here, your crown comes and hover over your sleeping body and dumps your damn consciousness back inside of it. And you wake up and say, hey, man, I just came from a dream. This is the science of it, y'all, of how consciousness is transported. So that's why on the 7th day, God rests. Why? Because when you get to the 7th chakra, you leave the body. And how do you leave the body? By sleeping, by resting, by meditating. Don't you see in all of these images that the person got their eyes closed? Yeah. See there? So when you get to remember that the word day in etymology mean rise. So it's 7 steps to this pyramid. That's the 7 days of the week. The 7 days of the week are 7 wrinkles in time, 7 rises. Each day is a step up the pyramid, showing you the journey of time and of the self. You see what I'm saying? And on the 7th day, you get the rest. Why? Because when you get to the very top of the pyramid, you get to sit Indian style and chill out. It was a hard climb to get to the top. And the seventh step that you take, that's when you gonna get the rest. You see? It say on the seventh day God rested. The word day in etymology mean arise. This is talking about the 7 steps or the 7 rises that is ascension up the stairway to heaven. 7 means completion because the 7th step of the pyramid is the last one. You complete your path of ascension and you can rest at that point. Your earth journey is done. You get the rest, you be rewarded. So when a person taking their journey up this pyramid, is a spiritual journey to show you what we're doing in macro. And they literally would have left the earth with this ritual. So death was nothing to the ancestors. They didn't have the concept of death that you had. Now this is called Saqqara, but it's not a burial site. Think about it. Why would the ancestors name this like it's a graveyard, but ain't no dead bodies there? Because the ancestors looked at meditating people as dead folks. They looked at a sleeping Buddha as a dead God. They saying that when God is asleep, God is dead. When God is asleep, man is awakened, and man is the devil. And when the devil go to sleep, God awaken. Their concept of death was leaving the earth. So they named this doggone pyramid like it was a grave site. And we being confused today because we don't understand their concept of death. They died all the time. That's why we always read these stories about people dying and being brought back to life. That's to say that a soul left the earth and came back. That's called meditation. Every time a Buddha meditates, he calls it a death and a rebirth. And we are taking it literally, like people dying and coming back on some zombie shit. Literally, when you dream at night and wake back up, the ancestors said you died and you are now reborn. But we created religion saying they was resurrecting the dead. No, dog. They was waking up sleeping monks. If you meditated in the temple and went to another universe, it was you had guardians in these temples to wake you up at a certain time so that you don't stay over on the other side too long. This what the church was about. That's why we say today, you got to wake up, man. Wake up, wake up. I'm trying to be woke. Because we are Buddhas that fell asleep in our own simulation and we've been stuck in our own dream. And on the other side, they sending in reinforcement to wake you up. When we wake up, we're going to realize we were a Buddha that ascended up this step pyramid and started meditating in a group full of other Buddhas who all left Eden and they entered a meditative state on top of a step pyramid in another universe. I'm going to show you what you look like in the base reality. The Hindu can show you better than me. Look, this is what you look like in the base reality. You are a sleeping Buddha on top of your own step pyramid. Look at this. This is what Saqqara is about. When you get to the top, boom, you did this before. And when you went to sleep, your consciousness went inside of a dream called life into the underworld down here. You waking up is you waking up from 7 layers of dreaming. A dream within a dream within a dream. And that's when you're going to wake up on Savaloka, on Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka. Then when you wake up in Brahmaloka, you're going to be through with your awakening process. You're going to wake back up in your real reality. Because we entered a dream and we fell asleep inside of a dream. Then we fell asleep in another dream and another dream and another dream. And we got so far away from our real bed. We're dual dreamers now in a layered dream like matrix where you got to wake up out of one, out of that one, out of that one, out of that one. We fell deep into sleep. You never say a person rose asleep. You say that they fell asleep because sleeping is a fall into the earth realm, into the underworld, into darkness, sleep. See, people don't rise asleep, they fall asleep. And where you falling, you had to come from a high level if you fell. And that's why you're a fallen angel. Not because you fell off a mountain, because you went into darkness. What fell was your eyelids. Your eyelids closed and fell. And that's how you became a fallen angel. You entered the darkness by shutting your eyes in the base reality. And you entered a meditative experience within yourself. And when you did that, you entered the central nervous system, which is the earth realm, is a big spinal cord. This is where reality is taking place in the brain and spine. That's where will is being manifested. That's what's connected to the sleeper, the dreamer. So that's what Sakara was all about. But if you let Billy Carson tell you, ancient aliens made this because in their mind, aliens are the only advanced creatures that can travel from realm to realm, from planet to planet. I got news for you. We are the aliens, y'all. There are no advanced creatures out there. It's just us humans. When we either know the knowledge or we don't. And when we don't know the knowledge, we think it's aliens doing it. Just like, see what I'm saying? Hey, man, I'm talking too much. Let me go back to the clip that I promised y'all. I'm tripping.
The Tipler cylinder is basically Tipler reverse engineering the North Pole, which is a rapidly spinning infinite cylinder, aka the center of magnetism, aka a hyperboloid. So the Tipler cylinder is a cylinder of dense matter of infinite length, rotating about its longitudinal axis. The rotation of this massive cylinder would create a frame dragging effect. This frame dragging effect would warp the space-time in such a manner that it would allow for past time travel. The problem with Tipler cylinder is that it would require negative energy for its stability, or else it would collapse into a black hole.
Mic check 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me real quick. That was the Tipler cylinder portion. But one thing I wanted to point out with the Tipler cylinder real quick, actually, there was more to that video. I played the wrong copy. But did it black out at the end? Drop a 1 if it black. Yeah, it did. Let me go to the, my bad. It's 2 copies of that, and I played the wrong one. So after we play this one, then we're going to go to the big presentation like I promised y'all. Thank you for your support.
Professor Tipler wrote, in 1936, Van Stockham solved the Einstein equation for the gravitational field of a rapidly spinning infinite cylinder. It was shown that such a field violates causality in a sense that it allows a closed timeline to connect to any 2 points in space-time. This suggests that a rotating cylinder could act as a time machine. The Tipler cylinder actually solved the Einstein equation for the gravitational field of a rapidly spinning infinite cylinder. It was shown that such a field violates causality in a sense that it allows a closed timeline to connect to any 2 points in space-time. This suggests that a rotating cylinder could act as a time machine. The interesting thing about that is that each human being, the soul within us, is a infinite being of energy that is not bound to time. Every single human is a living time machine. And when you think about what's required to create a time machine or to allow time travel, any kind of technology that would allow a wormhole or a vortex to be open, to rip through the fabric of creation, space-time. One of those mechanisms that was able to do that was a Tipler cylinder. But all of the mechanisms that's able to open up a wormhole and allow for time travel, they all resemble what we are as human beings. And it's all based upon how divine we are. We're being reverse engineered. So for example, right, the Tipler cylinder can be compared to the central nervous system, the part of us that acts as an elevator for consciousness. So listen to me. So the, excuse me, the Merkaba, my bad. That was so unprofessional. Forgive me. But listen, the Merkaba is two counter-rotating cylinders. In other words, the human soul is a vimana, right? And they reverse engineered our soul, which is a starship, to create technology to help man get to the stars. Drop a 1 if y'all feel what I'm saying on that. Drop a 1 and we're going to finish this. We're going to be here for a minute. It's the weekend, man. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it all done. When we talk about two counter-rotating cylinders, that's how the earth is made. That's how we made. Your solar tetrahedron and your earth tetrahedron are your two counter-rotating cylinders. That's why evil exists, because there have to be an opposing force to keep the vortex open. In other words, you need negative and positive. You see here? There got to be a bad side of you, and it got to be a good side. That's called the mind and the body. And both of them together create the soul. It creates this paradox of the solar and earth tetrahedron coming together to make this six-pointed star, this Merkaba. You can't have one without the other one. It's like a battery. You can't have a negative side without the positive side, because it won't power in. If you put a battery like that in your phone, it won't work. If you're using a AA battery, it got to have a positive end and a negative end. People say, I don't like negativity. You don't like energy then. You're not looking at duality the right way. You're looking at it from a religious mindset versus a way on how these energies can empower the self. If you can use the energy of the yin and the yang to propel yourself, that's the secrets of not looking at things as positive or negative. Look at an atom like an opportunity to do what's best for you. You feel me? This ain't a evil act or a good act. It's an efficient act. This is what advanced beings do. Advanced beings don't look at right or wrong. They look at what makes sense. And when you do that, you always gonna do the right thing. Because most of the people in the world, they ain't really evil for real. They just dumb as hell. It ain't that they evil people because they really evil. They evil because they dumb as hell and they can be manipulated. That's why they evil. But the average person is good for real, man. Now let's talk about two counter-rotating cylinders, because both of those two counter-rotating cylinders is what Tipler made with the Tipler cylinder. That's a time-traveling machine. Your Merkaba is your Superman phone booth. When we go inside of this tetrahedron, when we come out, we done travel to a whole nother. Earth is just a pass-through. We traveling through here in our starship through this foreign planet called Earth.
But when we leave here, we get into our true home and destination, and this ain't it. We're time travelers. And Earth is just a point in time that we traveling through in our tetrahedron. This is how the ancestors looked at all this. So when we talk about two counter-rotating cylinders, that's the most high and the most low. The most low is always going in the opposite way of the most high, but they work together, just like the Bible tell you. The yin and the yang work together, like the God and the devil, like the man and the woman. These opposing forces gotta work together, like the positive and the negative, like the sun and the moon, if you want to create this paradox. That's what a paradox is love marrying hate. It's the truth marrying the lie. You see what I'm saying? So that's what makes reality, the truth and the lie. Why? Both of them are real. That's the paradox. People may say Sanchez, a lie ain't real. Yes, it is. Lies are real. We tell them all the time. See what I'm saying? Do you see the paradox that I just presented? Did it go over your head? I'm speaking the dual language. People may say lies ain't real. You right, but lies are real because they do exist. We tell them all the time. You see the conundrum here? Do you see the paradox with that? Because if I say lies are real, that ain't true. That's false. But guess what? It's true too. So that's what a paradox is. A paradox is something that's true and false at the same time. Guess what? Sanchez is a good person. That's true. Guess what? Sanchez is an evil person. That's true. That's true for all of y'all too. And that paradox gonna exist whether you like it or not. Because that's what's creating the vortex energy. That's what's creating the whole damn experience. To travel the different points in time, the Tipler cylinder is also what we call the barber pole. If you ever look at how the barber pole moves, it's like DNA strands. This is the Kundalini energy. You have red and blue. You have blue going up, red going down. This creates a vortex. This is how you get your Pepsi Cola symbol, which is just another throw off from the yin yang symbol, showing you this red and blue or black and white, night and day, man and woman, 6-9 polarizing energy. Tipler cylinder is a cylinder of dense matter of infinite length. Why is it infinite length? Because the cylinder is formed due to think about a tornado tail. A tornado tail is formed via a vortex 6-9 wind, and the stronger the winds get, the longer the tail grow. If there was nothing to stop the growth of a tornado tail, being the ground, then the tail could grow indefinitely. If we're dealing with a tornado that's being fed an infinite amount of energy or indefinite amount of energy. So when we talk about a cylinder of infinite length, this was told in the Bible as the Babel Tower. Notice that the Babel Tower shapes like a cylinder and it goes up forever. There's a math concept called the Infinity Hotel. And the Infinity Hotel concept, it dives into the nature of infinity, free energy, and how space is infinite. So the Infinity Hotel is a modern concept that would have been taught in parable in the old days. And that's what the Babel Tower was all about. The Tipler cylinder is basically Tipler reverse engineering the North Pole, which is a rapidly spinning infinite cylinder, aka the center of magnetism, aka a hyperboloid.
So the Tipler cylinder is a cylinder of dense matter of infinite length, rotating about its longitudinal axis. The rotation of this massive cylinder would create a frame dragging effect. This frame dragging effect would warp the space-time in such a manner that it would allow for past time travel. The problem with Tipler cylinder is that it would require negative energy for its stability, or else it would collapse into a black hole. It's all about the yin and yang in balance in two counter-rotating cylinders. Now let's look at some. I want to show you some, right? I'm going to show you how this Babel Tower work, right? So we've already said that two counter-rotating cylinders, right, will create this free energy phenomena. These are two counter-rotating cylinders. We already went over this real quick. Now, I want y'all to think about this, right? You can take a bunch of these right here and start stacking them on each other. Do you hear what I'm saying? And you will create the infinity hotel. That's what the Hindu's showing us right here. Our Earth is an endless tower. This is the Babel Tower. And each one of these cylinders is counter-rotating to the one next to it. So let me show you what's happening, right? Let's start down here. Let's say this circle right here is rotating clockwise. This one going counterclockwise. This one going clockwise. This one going counterclockwise. This one, and so forth and so on. And the clockwise and counterclockwise staggering pattern is the barber pole pattern. Red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Now check this out, right? This creates an infinite situation of counter-rotating cylinders and a Jedi infinite tower of infinite energy. This is a tower of infinite energy. You can keep stacking cylinders on top of each other. Long as you stagger them, they'll all power each other forever. You can take a bunch of counter-rotating cylinders. You can take this concept right here and scale it up. Now I can take a whole nother bubble and stack it on top of this bubble and keep stacking them and stacking them and staggering them. And that's how you get this right here. And it's so genius, but it's so simple. But let's play the video. I promised y'all that I would play this segment for y'all. So get your popcorn. We about to get a sneak peek into my hit documentary. It's $20. You can get it on my website in the product section. Let's check it out, and we'll be back right after it to teach you some more stuff.
Dr. John Murray did experiments with different kinds of energy, something that may have been scalar energy back in the early 1920s or the 1930s. He wrote a book called The Sea of Energy, and he describes this type of energy. Brad said that when this thing was moving around, the system wasn't energized to its full strength. He said as it would start to list in one direction, as it started to tilt, it would slide over and it would power up the system on that side, and it would bring it back to a righted position all by itself, completely unmanned. It would sit there and it would correct itself just while it was sitting there. One of the things Einstein said was that you can never accelerate anything up to and past the speed of light. If you did, you would have to have all the energy in the universe, because as you accelerate through space, mass increases. One of the old films showing this concept shows a train going faster and faster towards the speed of light, but the train keeps getting bigger and bigger until the engine just can't pull it, so it can never pass the speed of light. But what if you have a system, a device that absorbs that 0-point energy and prevents it from interacting with the atomic structure of the vehicle? And at the same time, it's providing additional power to the capacitor section, this whole electrical system that is going on in the vehicle that's running. In effect, the faster you go, the easier it becomes to go up to and exceed the speed of light.
Brad said that in this exhibit at Norton Air Force Base, a 3-star general said that these vehicles were capable of doing light speed or better. Oh, by the way, the largest of these vehicles was about 120 to 130 feet in diameter. I mean, that's massive when you think about it. It's just huge. There's a scientist in Utah by the name of Moray B. King. He wrote a book called Trapping the Zero Point Energy. What he maintains is that this energy is embedded in space-time all around us. It's in everything we see. I think it was James Clerk Maxwell who speculated that there's enough of this flux, this electrical charge in the nothingness of space, that if you could capture all the energy that was embedded in just a cubic yard of space, you would have enough energy to boil the oceans of the entire world. That's how much energy is sitting there waiting to be tapped. Now, one of the things that Moray B. King said was that the best way to tap that energy is by driving it out of equilibrium. It's just like a bunch of cigarette smoke in a box. But if you somehow send a shock wave through it, you can get force. You can get ripples through it. Then, if you have a way of collecting that energy at the other end, you have a way of tapping into it and using it. This alien reproduction vehicle, this flux liner, has a way of doing that somehow electronically. Now, Brad had described the fact that this central column has a kind of vacuum chamber in it. The vacuum chamber is one of the things that all of these scientists describe in these over unity or free energy devices they build. They all have some kind of vacuum tubes or vacuum technology. Brad maintained that inside this big vacuum chamber, in the central column that's inside everything else, inside the flywheel, inside the secondary coils of the Tesla coil, inside the crew compartment, there is a mercury vapor. Mercury vapor will conduct electricity, but it produces all kinds of ionic effects. These little molecules of mercury become charged in unusual ways, and if you fire a tremendous amount of electricity through mercury vapor that's in a partial vacuum, there is something special, something unusual that happens in that process. I believe it's the process that Moray King came to describe when he proposed driving the energy in the vacuum out of equilibrium, putting some kind of shock wave through it. Now, the other thing that I believe happens here is that as this system begins to tap into this 0 point energy and is drawing it away from the local environment, the whole craft becomes lighter in weight. It becomes partially mass canceled, if you will, which is one of the reasons why just a little bit of energy in the capacitors could shoot it all over the place. One of the things that I believe happens is when you take a system like this and you fire it up, everything in the system starts to become mass canceled. The next thing that happens is that the electrons that are flowing through the system also become mass canceled. What does that mean? It means as that system and all the electrons flowing through that big Tesla coil become mass canceled, it also becomes the perfect superconductor, which means the efficiency of the systems goes right through the ceiling. You get dramatic efficiency, just like the whole thing was dunked into liquid nitrogen or made out of pure silver or pure gold, which at certain temperatures are perfect conductors. It becomes lighter and can accelerate at incredible speeds. The faster it goes, the lighter it gets, and the faster it's able to go. Die Glock, meaning the bell in German.
Now, before we go any further, what's the point of me playing this portion right now? To show you the technology that we found out in the 40s. But they weren't ready for the world to have it. Why? They were selling gas. They were getting rich off the petroleum industry. You think they was ready for Germany to enter? When they said that it was dangerous, this what they was talking about. This why Tesla was dangerous. They had technology that would have reshaped the way of life as we know it, and there's a bunch of folks in power that won't change to come unless they can control it. And so when you talking free energy, free propulsion, and what the way that we was traveling was so advanced, we were time traveling with this propulsion technology. This is literally when they talking about going to space, going to other outside the earth. And we know we've been time travelers for a while. I can show you stones in Mesoamerica, right? Of men inside of vimanas, not just in Hindu.
It's the name of an alleged top secret Nazi technological device that is among the most notable of SS General Hans Kammler's ultra secret arsenal of quote unquote wonder weapons. Ever since the conclusion of the Second World War, an increasing number of revelations have surfaced regarding various outlandish and even occult-based scientific and technological experiments being conducted by the Nazis throughout the duration of the Third Reich. Die Glocke has been considered to be among the most mysterious and intriguing of these revelations, as the potential explanations surrounding the actual purpose of the device range from anti-gravity to interdimensional time travel.
Now, believe it or not, right? Here is a concept of Jonah in the whale. And I just got Travis Scott Astroworld show where all them people died. I put that one on there too. And remember, he says, see you on the other side. We talking traveling through the layers of reality. Bro, I got a whole stream on the Astroworld. Just the name of it, because think about it. The whole thing, what Travis Scott called it, was Astroworld. That means we going to another world on the astroplane, leaving the Earth. And look at how he set the stage up, like a CERN portal to leave the Earth. And it's a bunch of people that died, man, that left the Earth. I'm just saying. Now, this is Jonah in the whale. That's Travis Scott. Why I got this up? Here is a Buddha right here inside of an arch. Guess what this machine is that he's sitting in? That is one of these, y'all. Now, listen, let me show you something. They call it Die Glocke. That's the German word name for the Vimana. And this ain't nothing to play with, y'all. This is real technology. This is real starships that we see in the sky zip. And you think it's a shooting star, but it's a Vimana, though. We see them all the time. Now, check this out. This right here is what you see him inside of right here. You see what I'm saying? It's so many images I got of dudes inside of these little Vimanas leaving the Earth. This is old knowledge, bro. It's time to wake up. But let me play the video. I'm going to find some more while we play it and share different ones throughout this joint with you. Let's go.
Time travel, another feature of Die Glocke that has been theorized, is an ability to see through time. This would be done through the use of a convex mirror on the top of a device, theorized by author Henry Stevens. Others have speculated that the bell itself is a time machine, giving the person inside it the capability to move into the past. Theoretically, himself could have been sent back in time using Die Glocke to found the Nazi Party, ensuring that Die Glocke would be built to send him back in time. Polish researcher Igor Witkowski initially mentioned Die Glocke in 1997, claiming access to classified documents obtained from an anonymous Polish intelligence official.
In the 40s, they made y'all think that we was finna go into the space age and getting into space travel. But guess what the truth was? We was getting into time travel. Time travel. You see, they time traveling right now. You see what I'm saying? And They got us think that they trying to investigate space travel.
Witkowski transcribed these documents but couldn't make copies. While unverified, his statements gained traction after being recounted in Nick Cook's 2001 book, The Hunt for Zero Point. Witkowski's alleged documents included interrogations of Jacob Sporenberg, a high-ranking Nazi SS official in charge of a special evacuation unit related to Die Glock's testing site, Der Rise, or the Giant, which is near the CZEC border. In an affidavit, Sporenberg admitted to ordering the execution of 60 Nazi scientists involved in the Bell Project, emphasizing its secrecy. The Nazis planned to eliminate evidence if the experiment's location was discovered. Die Glock is described as being comprised of a dense, heavy metal and having a bell-like shape. The dimensions of the device were roughly 9 feet wide by 12 to 15 feet in height, and it was encased in a ceramic cover. According to Cook's writings, the bell housed a central axis or core around which rotated 2 cylindrical devices that moved in opposite rotation, one clockwise and one counterclockwise.
And see, that's what I'm telling you. And look what's in the middle of it, a Tesla coil. But I ain't gonna stop the video. Let's keep going.
During experiments, these 2 cylinders were filled with a violet-colored substance that had properties similar to mercury. This mysterious metallic liquid carried the code name, quote-unquote, Zerum 525. Various theories have been offered as to what substance this Zerum 525 may have actually been. Some have speculated that it was some type of radioactive isotope of mercury. The most common explanation was that it was mercury antimonate oxide, otherwise known as quote-unquote red mercury, which allegedly has the capability to produce fission explosions equivalent to the power of 1,000 tons of TNT. Once the bell was activated by a high voltage current, the liquid inside would begin to glow brightly, and the entire device would emit a strong and heavy radiation that produced adverse effects, even leading to the death of several Nazi scientists. Before their deaths, the scientists reportedly suffered from various ailments such as nerve spasms, loss of balance, and a metallic taste in the mouth. Dozens of plant and animal test subjects were also killed by radiation exposure during various experiments. So what exactly was the purpose of the bell? According to Sporenberg's own testimony, Die Glock was associated with quote-unquote magnetic fields separation and quote-unquote vortex compression. Witkowski asserts that each of these physical principles had become commonly associated with anti-gravity research. According to some physicists, if you have a device that can generate a torsion field of extremely high intensity, it is theoretically possible to quote-unquote bend space around the device. Consequently, by bending space, you also bend time. Could it be possible that the Nazis were utilizing a bell to conduct scientific experiments in time travel? Interestingly enough, it is important to note that the project was codenamed, quote-unquote, Chronos, which means time. Witkowski.
Why would they name the project Chronos? Y'all better get this documentary. I don't charge for bull crap. Now, I'm trying to show y'all something now. I told you throughout this stream, I'm going to be showing you ancient people that was showing you them inside of vimanas back in the day. Now, this is Nikola Tesla's patent right here. This is Tesla. And you can see right here, this is what Tesla had in mind. And I want to use Billy Carson just to be more disrespect. Well, I'm being respectful. I normally go in. Yeah, we're going to use Billy's collage, y'all. Let's use Billy's because he don't even go this deep. That's what's going to make it so fire. Now, check this out, y'all. Look at what Tesla said with the flying saucer idea. Now, if you want to laugh at Tesla, here go the German idea. And remember, I just showed you, right? Let's go back here. Hold on. I just showed you a carving of a dude and a vimana. I'm going to give you another one. Look at this. What you think this man in right here? This is Mesoamerican. Look at what kind of hat he got on. A shaman hat. Guess what I keep telling y'all? Tesla learned from the shamans. Tesla got his knowledge from the shamans. Look at here. This is an ancient man that carved the whole slab of rock. This was how important this thing was for them. Him with his baby inside of a starship. They was transporting babies in different, man, we didn't have no barriers to us. You see him holding the baby, sent Indian style, closing his eyes. Remember, we say we pray, right? This was the real prayer leaving the earth, man. When we went in the temple, we went in a starport to launch the consciousness off. This is a dude with him and his baby with their eyes closed. And this man looked like him and his baby finna lead together in the starship. Closing their eyes, let me hold you, baby. Like you buckle your baby up in the car seat and you say, you know, let's go to the store. This a man saying, come on, baby, get in. We about to go to another time zone and another age. Like this was knowledge was so common. Like you and your regular car today. This how normal it was. As this is when we, like time traveling was a thing with the Mayan, the Olmecs, the Mesoamericans, the Hindu. I just showed you another one.